السلام عليكم جميعا. Of course, please allow me to switch into English. We have some non-Arabic speakers, so with that, and I feel more comfortable speaking English as well, especially presenting. So before I came here, I must admit something. I was really concerned about presenting to Tomouh audiences because I'm relatively new to Tomouh. I really didn't know what to expect. So I had to ask my good friend Amr Wateishan, who's sitting on table 12, wearing dark thobe, glasses. I've asked him, what should I expect there, Amr? And he said, Waleed, those are the most picky people, the cleverest. They'll ask questions you never thought about, and they never forget anything. He's still working with me now, but I'll never forget that. He made me more nervous. And honestly, I presented in various countries in the world, you name it, for audience from 500 plus to really selected elite audiences of CEOs. And I felt more comfortable. Hopefully I won't screw up today, and I'll try my best to give you the perspective of what are the challenges of international companies when they come to our region, what do they face, how they perceive things, and what can we do as change agents. And I really mean it. We're all ambassadors of change agents for our region. How can we fix that and improve things? With that, I'll proceed, but very quick one. I've tasked also Amro to negotiate our sponsorship. If Mohammed is here, I can assure you next year, because Amro forgot that size does matter with sponsorship, next year we will be there. So as long as it's in the same cost as this year, so it's a done deal. This is intentional. I mean, this is just the front cover. That's not my twin brother, that's me in both pictures. And the reason why I do this is, in Saudi, I'm a Saudi. Everywhere else, when I go abroad to the US or UK or Europe, I'm just a global executive. And I think if there is something we're missing here in this region is just having a global mindset. Don't get me wrong, they do exist, but I think as a percentage, it's a pretty small number. And what can we do to improve the global mindset? It's something that's really missing, and we really need to work hard on it. We have lots of successful executives in our regions, but how can we take it to the next step and make them more global, more flexible minds? And what does that mean? This is our company, Northrop Grumman, and I would like to take advantage of my presence here. Just please, before today, how many of you heard of Northrop Grumman? Okay, it's not bad, it's good number, and I expect that. Hopefully next year, everyone would raise their hand, because you will hear lots of things in Saudi, specifically, and the Middle East region, that things we're doing, and I'll give you a very quick update on those. But our chief executive decided to genuinely go global. We are global already, we exist and have services everywhere in the world almost, but they picked 6 specific countries where not only we sell products there, but we have actual presence, big presence. Offices where we sell and support our products from those countries and the region. So I'll specifically touch on Saudi, although UAE, we have our own offices as well here in Abu Dhabi, and we do this. But the question, and I've studied in the US, I'm sure most of you probably studied abroad. If you look at any of those countries, and I'll say, what's the first things come to mind when you mention any of those countries? Be it Britain, Australia, Emirates, Saudi. But I'm going to reverse it. When I studied there in the US, there were questions, people will ask me questions about Saudi. I would have never thought they would. For example, do you have cars in Saudi Arabia? Do you have houses? And those are university students and not people in the street. I was brainwashed in here. I was raised like we are the best of the best in everything. So you go abroad and people don't know much about you. It was really an eye-opener and shocking for me. But I had to learn. And I think this is our message here. How can we increase the company's sales while doing as much work as possible in the region? This is our strategy, and very quickly I'll touch on this. When I ask in the US up to now, what's the first things come to mind when we say the word Saudi Arabia, or when you see Saudi flags? Of course, the first thing is all desert. Well, okay, they're not wrong. It is lots of desert. We definitely have cities, but desert is definitely part of our country. Oil, that's absolutely. I mean, oil now, prices of oil is worrying, but we're definitely oil. I think what people fail to mention is this. that custodian of the two holy mosques come with huge responsibilities, really huge. Maybe sometimes we as locals do not appreciate that, but it's enlightening that they never thought of this. And that's how we would like to see it. I mean, we're proud of saying, well, it's really modern, there's lots of great infrastructures. However, they don't see that. They really do not see that. And I love these pictures because, please, whoever of you is in Riyadh, my office is right there. You can come and we have good Turkish coffee in my office, so please, I really mean to stop by and say hi. But let's change things slightly. If I'm to present this picture, what would you think that is? Right? Jobs? Hajj? Well, most of the expats would say probably Hajj pilgrims. This is a picture a couple of years ago, and it was in the newspaper. The Ministry of Interior announced vacancies for about 300 employees. More than 10,000 Saudis showed up. There were stampede and people died. Yes, in Saudi Arabia, one of the richest countries in the world. Why does this matter? Well, it matters a lot. If I want to be successful in Saudi, I need to understand the issues that affect the government, the Saudi Arabians, and come up with a strategy to support them. And I'll give a couple of examples. Actually, this is a strategy that it's been endorsed by our chairman and the board, and that's what we're doing. But again, I can go whole day talking about those in more details, but at the top, that's what the Saudi government is after. Economic diversification, self-sufficiency, job creation for locals, technology and knowledge transfer. And in all honesty, I know lots of emphasis has been in technology. That does not matter. What matters is real knowledge. I think knowledge is what makes the difference, and I hope every one of you, again, become an agent of change and increasing that knowledge in here. And this has not been written after the transformation programs in Saudi. It's written long before, about 2 years ago. And that's what we're doing about it as a company. So all I'm saying is, without real understanding of this, we would have never been able to articulate strategy. But I have no doubt lots of you will be building brands. And I hope your brands will be not only successful in Saudi or in the GCC, but globally. That's the secret of being successful. Co-creating, and the word co is the most important here. You can create values for your company. It will never be enough. You need to co-create the values with your customer. So co-creating values with the Saudi government and industry in Saudi, in UAE, it's for UAE government and industry. We'll have to work on this, and we've been working, and this can never be achieved without local knowledge. And I will stress on this, and I'll demonstrate to you how important that is. That's what most companies miss when they come and try and operate in Saudi Arabia. And I think, Shihana, you being a lawyer, what happens with multinational company first, when they want to tackle any issue, they look at the policies, they look at the laws, and they say, well, this is the law, that's how it can be done, or it can't be done in Saudi. But they forget that we have lots of brilliant policies that's not implemented, or it's not that implemented that well, and the reality is always different. I've been deputy minister. I've done it. The first time I went to my new job, I looked at lots of those policies, and I said, wow, those are amazing. They really are up to date. I wish they are implemented. So that's something comes with your local knowledge and the common practice and the day-to-day life. So understanding the region, understanding the culture, understanding what's real and what's not, what the policies versus reality. So that's important. And nothing, trust me, happen in Saudi without relationship and connection. It's really like water out of fish. I'm not going to be stupid to ask you, do you know this man or not? I'm sure everyone knows, but if I am to tell you, if I am to present this picture in a public newspaper, anyway, someone will call me the next day and they will sack me. Any idea why? Or they will give me a hard time, really hard time. Right? And we never wave or shake hand with our left-hand side, with our left hand. This is the real picture. This is what happens before. Lots of mistakes that take place by multinational companies doing something very small. The effect could be big in offending customers. And I use this as an example because, again, in the older day, you could easily, up to now, with digital images, you could switch them easily without noticing the difference. Let me move one further. Part of my role during my career, I was the head of PR and comms for a multinational company operating in the Middle East. So I just followed, I enjoyed following advertisements and branding, how they brand themselves. IWC is very famous newspaper. They put this ad in Urban News, and it ran for a while. Then they had to be called in, remove this ad with big apology. Well, of course, I think, first they didn't know that Saudi women do not ride Harley Davidson. We don't have them. They can't drive. That's not the issue. Havana, people smoke ma'asal or shisha or could smoke cigar at home. That's not an issue. But there's no whiskey. Glenmorangie is a type of whiskey. I don't know that, trust me. A friend told me. but they had to withdraw that ad with big apology. What they did is they forgot the saying, one size does not fit all. So it worked perfectly well in Europe. It will never work in Saudi. Sabiq, who doesn't know Sabiq? Everyone knows Sabiq. And I've noticed they had this campaign, that's long ago, so apology if anybody from Sabiq here, but this is many years ago. They had this campaign about future technologies and so on. The campaign is a total failure. And of course, I had to get in touch with the head of PR and comms then just to understand what was he thinking when they placed this. Why was it total failure? It's a blonde kid. Let me tell you, if I want to have any emotion or connection to any ad, I want to see someone of mine. So that's definitely not my kid. And if it is, I'm going to have a word with my wife, let me tell you. So there's no connection, no emotion. Why would I be interested in viewing an ad like this? But what happened? The head of PR and comms just happened to be a British national, something that really worked in the UK. Bring it in, let it work. No, it doesn't. I was interested in the speech just Alan before me. I mean, if we have something equivalent like the 50s, 60s, 90s, is it the same in Saudi? Will it be different? Can we tag them at the same? But all I'm saying, what works in Saudi may never work abroad and vice versa. This is what gets me really. Whoever studied in the UK, there's a very famous saying, if you're in Rome, do what the Romans do. And it does work. I support it, I like it. The only problem is when they come to our country, they try to stop doing what the Romans do. And of course, we know we have lots of restrictions, we have lots of issues related to culture, them fitting in, but at the end of the day, it's business. If you're selecting people who cannot respect the culture, respect the laws and policies of that country, whatever country it is, then you're selecting the wrong people. So it's something just to keep in mind. I respect that, but it's not being applied when they come to Saudi. However, there are expats in Saudis, and they live in compounds, and we used to report. We have magazines for companies and print things. Of course, we can never print and publicize something like this. But luckily, with technology, we were able to do things like this. But I was the head of PR and comms then, and I screwed up. Anyone knows why? We forget this one. Lessons learned. Now, my only problem then, one of the lady called me and he said, I bought this dress for £500 and you ruined it. I said, well, I'd rather ruin your dress rather than lose $1 billion contract, so thank you. What we're focusing on now is really about all STEM, science and technology. This is something that's really needed. And I think really people in here can support in every way they can. But we're keen to show that we are supporting science and technology in the whole region, not only in Saudi. That's something we've done in the US. This is the guy who negotiated the very small signs here, so we'll get him back. But we're keen, any support we can get on science and technology, knowledge transfer, we're all for it. This is actually our chairman and CEO. We've just came up with a program in the US to look at for Saudi students studying in the US during summertime, what do they do with their time? We don't want them to be bored or get into things they shouldn't do, so we established a specific program, again, in relation to science and technology. We sponsor them, we paid for everything. It was a great program, great success, and it's growing every year. But that's probably what's more important, and lots of companies miss it when they come here. How do we get our chairman and CEO to start to think like local, to start to engage with real business leadership who are on the ground and see things slightly different than the way the company see them from the US. Probably if every initiative we've done, it's all help, this is the most helpful because it gets them to see the same things, they get them to feel of the challenges everyone from business leaders feel. I definitely encourage it. The more we can do this, the better, I think, for any company. But they always go back, trust me, with a lot really different perspectives. Before, in a previous company, we invited 60 of the top leaders in the world of that company. It's a global company. They spend 2 weeks, full 2 weeks in Saudi Arabia, met customers, have seen various things. Not a single one. When they left, they said they've changed the whole perception about Saudi. We addressed media before. We addressed about the image of Saudi. I know questions were addressed to His Royal Highness. What they know about Saudi is completely different than what we know about Saudi. They see it completely different. And there's lots and lots of examples I can share with you, but we don't have the time. And when we talk Middle East, again, if I present pictures like this to you, what's the logic in here? This guy is searching this man when he has this huge Kalashnikov. Does it make sense? And I do present this to my board when I go back to the US. I do present to the board with one intent only, to say what makes sense to you may not make sense in here and vice versa. I mean, in Yemen, it is normal for people to carry guns and walk around. It's normal to have daggers. Everyone almost have it. I know it sounds stupid that he's body searching him when he's actually holding the Kalashnikov there, but you need to have fresh pair of eyes, you need to have flexible mind when you want to be successful outside of your own country. So the reason I'm saying this, I know you will build brands, you will be successful in Saudi, and the chances there's a good percentage of you will be very successful outside of Saudi as well. So that's what we're looking for from this picture. And I think that's really conclude my presentation. I know I only had 15 minutes. I'm honored again. Thank you so much. And I wish everyone the best of luck here.